Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming today to the McMaster Health Forum here at McMaster University in Hamilton, Ontario. Those who are joining us in the room, those who are joining us online for our latest Queen Elizabeth Scholarship webinars. A quick little summary of what we're going to accomplish today. I'm going to give you a quick little overview of the forum and our scholarship program, and then I'm going to turn it over to our scholar presenters who will talk about their experiences as QE scholars. The McMaster Health Forum is a leading hub for improving health outcomes through collective problem solving. We harness information, convene stakeholders, and prepare action-oriented leaders to act as an agent of change by empowering stakeholders. The Queen Elizabeth Scholarship Program is a unique partnership between Universities Canada, the Rita Hall Foundation, and Community Foundations of Canada, as well as the individual Canadian universities that are involved. It is made possible by financial support from the Canadian government, provincial governments, and the private sector. The purpose of the program is to activate a dynamic community of young global leaders across the Commonwealth to create lasting impacts both at home and abroad through cross-cultural exchanges encompassing international education, discovery and inquiry, and professional experiences. Here at the forum, the QES program has existed twice. There's been two different programs. The original program was on strengthening health systems and involved only Commonwealth countries. The second program, of which we are 20 Canadian institutions to be awarded a second QES program, is on strengthening health and social systems, and the scope expanded beyond the Commonwealth to include low and middle income countries. Our scholars contribute to strengthening health and social systems and become part of our large and growing network of health and social systems leaders. Our original program had a number of scholars involved. Here's a list of the 14 incoming scholars, so international students who came to McMaster, and 3 outgoing scholars, and a large list of 44 outgoing interns who went and worked with our partners abroad. Our current program on strengthening health and social systems has so far engaged 7 incoming scholars and 13 outgoing interns who you will hear from today. In the photo there are some of our scholars, one of whom will be presenting today, along with the former Governor General of Canada and the current Lieutenant Governor of Ontario. Our scholar presenter today is Tushar. At the time of his internship, he was an undergraduate student in the Honors Integrated Science program at McMaster. He was also a former fellow, and during that time, Tushar played an integral role in stakeholder dialogues and citizen panels, as well as rapid evidence profiles to better inform and support decision makers during the COVID-19 pandemic and beyond. Through his internship, Tushar hoped to further develop his skills in evidence synthesis and support health policy and systems research initiatives in whatever way he possibly could. Tushar, over to you.
Thank you, James. All right, everyone. Hello, my name is Tushar, and I'm just going to be discussing a little bit more about my QES experience. And I was actually very fortunate to be in New Delhi, India. So I will be going through a couple pieces of information about that. Right, you can go to the next slide. Yeah. So who am I? So I'm a first-year medical student at the University of Toronto and a recent graduate of McMaster, where I studied honors integrated science, as James has mentioned. I was also a past forum fellow in strengthening health and social systems. And some of my academic interests just include medicine, health policy, health equity, and public and population health. So let's just go right into it. Welcome to New Delhi. This is a glimpse into my internship and my experience beyond the internship. I'm probably going to be spending an equal amount of time on the internship aspect and life beyond it. All right, so let's start off. I was at the George Institute for Global Health, which is a leading public health and medical research institute that's based out of the UK and Australia, but it has large offices in India and China as well. I was based out of the New Delhi, India office, and the George Institute, the George Institute, or TGI as we like to call it, is home to a wide variety of projects. And the one at New Delhi had a huge focus on India and Southeast Asia, from snakebite burden in South Asia to evidence synthesis for decision makers, which I was more so part of. So my role was part of the evidence synthesis team at TGI. This built on my experience as a forum fellow, similar to Seth. And I collaborated on a systematic review on how the COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted maternal and child healthcare service provision in the WHO Southeast Asia region. So for those of you who are unfamiliar, WHO has or the World Health Organization has regions such as the Americas and Southeast Asia, the Middle East, and all of these regions that they'd like to do a lot more research on because of local needs. So in this case, I was working with a team that was based out of Australia, as well as a team based out of India, for a systematic review on how maternal and child healthcare service provision, such as antenatal care or childhood vaccinations, were disrupted during the COVID-19 pandemic. I was also supporting, and I'm still supporting, a PhD student's project that is, he's actually based out of Australia, on the consideration of equity in the health policy and implementation process. So this is more of a large-scale project that is going to be towards his PhD, but it's very important in understanding how we can embed equity in all we do for health systems innovation and research. I also co-led a workshop for colleagues on using covidence for evidence synthesis. So as Seth kind of mentioned earlier, covidence is a great online tool that we're able to use for evidence synthesis purposes, including systematic reviews. I was fortunate to be able to use it a little bit before, as well as Shraddha, which is actually, I went on the internship with her, so that was a great experience. I can get into that a little bit more soon, but we were able to lead a workshop for colleagues on how to use covidence for evidence synthesis, and this helped strengthen capacities at the New Delhi office for TGI. So what the internship taught me. So cross-cultural collaboration. So I work with colleagues based in India, as well as those from Australia and New Zealand. Right off the bat, you get a lot of cross-cultural nuances that you have to be mindful of, whether it be the language that is used or I guess different ways of knowing and ways of thinking. It was quite an eye-opening experience, in all honesty, to work with these people and work with such amazing people in their fields. For example, my supervisor, Dr. Devaki Nambiar, she is phenomenal. She was a Fulbright scholar as well, and she has done so much work in this field, and it was so nice to learn from her. Broadening my horizons. I see that this slide got kind of cut off. My apologies, but I learned so much about the different aspects of health policy and systems research, about how much we can do to really embed health equity in all we do. And just to understand a completely different perspective, in this case, based in Southeast Asia and South Asia, just a completely different perspective on that, and how we can consider South Asian problems and work with global partners and with the local community to actually improve outcomes. I also learned a lot of useful research skills. So creating a search strategy, defining exclusion and inclusion criteria, managing large amounts of data for evidence synthesis projects, and managing multiple projects at the same time. These are all key skills that will be beneficial to me during my time in medical school and beyond, as I do enjoy research and hope to include that in my future endeavors. So now let's go to life in India, from day-to-day living to tourism. Yeah. All right. So where was I? So a little backgrounder. Not many people are as familiar with, I guess, the diversity of India. India is the second most populous country in the world, and it's on track to becoming the most populous just next year. It's home to diverse cultures, ethnic groups, religions, and languages. So just in the constitution, there's 22 languages, and there are countless more that are very commonly used in India. There's also a rich history. So this includes ancient civilizations, empires, obviously the British colonial rule, as well as other colonial powers, and life post-independence. So this has really shaped the country of the nation of India, and my experience when I was there. Specifically, New Delhi is India's cosmopolitan capital and the second largest urban area in the world. So it's 30 million residents. To put that in perspective, Canada has around 35 to 40 million. So it's not much smaller, and this is just one urban area. And the beauty of New Delhi, in my perspective, is that it hosts traditional elements of North Indian society, and it has very globalized enclaves, which make it very welcoming to people, including myself, who are not used to the Indian culture constantly around me. Or not just the Indian culture, but any Eastern culture. So this was quite useful for me, and also being able to see the day-to-day life there. So I just want to go over some of these pictures and just kind of show what India is all about. So I did a lot of tourism when I was there. I think I went to like 10 states approximately, or 8 to 10 states, which is quite a lot for that country. And we have some famous sites. So they're all pictures that I've taken. So on the left, we have the famous Taj Mahal. Then we have a fort in Jaipur. We have these caves that are actually 2,000 years old. So these are ancient Buddhist, Jain, and Hindu caves that are found a couple hours away from Mumbai. And that the last picture is of me in Mumbai. So I just want to show a little bit of how India has a rich tradition history to explore, something that I had visited a long, long time ago, but I had not explored it nearly as much as I wanted to. So this was a great way for me to see India from multiple lenses and from multiple eras. But it also has modernity. So I just wanted to put these three images here to show that India does have two sides to it. So the one on the left is just a mall that you would see in India. Then second is more of an urban center that is approximately about 45 minutes away from New Delhi. And on the right, you can see Mumbai, a very famous bridge with a palm tree. So that was always nice. The weather was quite nice as well for this. So before I end off, I do want to talk about what I learned and the benefits of being away. So I had near independent living. So I think I want to really emphasize near because I was fortunate to have lived with in a 2-bedroom apartment with Shraddha, who I was on the internship with. We were both students from McMaster who were able to go to TGI. And although we were on different projects, having that support system was something that I found very, very beneficial. And I got to experience a lot of India with her. That being said, it's still navigating a very unique cultural landscape. It's very different yet similar, and I think that's the best way to explain where I was. As I said, we had very globalized enclaves that kind of provided a sense of North American home or European and North American culture, but obviously you were surrounded in the greater context of India, which has many diverse cultures, most of which are very different from what we're used to on a day-to-day basis. So navigating this unique cultural landscape, whether it be working with people at TGI and beyond, or just interacting day-to-day with people, such as bargaining or just using Ubers and taxis in a different environment, and also using auto rickshaws, which are a different form of transportation that are not available here in Canada. It was really interesting to navigate this. I think other things I've learned include budgeting and self-regulation. So obviously with a trip of this size, I was there for 3 months and I had a strong desire to explore the country as much as I can. And I was very fortunate that Dr. Nambiar, which is my primary supervisor at TGI India, was very supportive of this as well. So this does come with budgeting and self-regulation, ensuring that whenever you're going to different places, you're able to live within your means. Self-regulation also includes, in this case, getting your work done despite being able to travel or despite being able having multiple projects on at the same time. It's very important to keep all your ducks in a row. And I think that this was something that this trip really taught me. I also was able to learn Hindi, so I'm not actually a native Hindi speaker. That being said, I did learn enough to read basic Hindi, was able to speak basic Hindi just due to my environment. And this kind of goes back to what Seth said regarding really embracing the culture and languages that are present in wherever you end up for an internship. If you do go on the QES internship, I was able to learn this language that 200 million people approximately in India itself speak, and that was very beneficial for me and for my day-to-day living. And as a result, just due to some structural similarities, I actually became better in my mother tongue, the Punjabi, as well. And I just connected with my cultural roots, which is really nice. I am of Indian background. That being said, I've only visited once when I was very, very young and kind of limited where I was. And I wasn't able to travel the way I wanted to travel there. So this was really nice to see what India is all about, understanding the nuanced geopolitical landscapes, understanding the cultures and history of this country, and really understanding its development in the modern era. It's rapidly developing, as you were able to see in the previous photos about modernity. And it's quite interesting to see how this plays out on a day-to-day basis. and also gaining the confidence to solo travel. So there were aspects of the trip in which I solo traveled. For example, when I went to Mumbai, I was completely alone. So although I was with Shraddha for a good amount of the trip, there was aspects of me being able to get that confidence. And I was before this trip, I was someone who hadn't even gone to a restaurant just to eat on my own before, and just in a sit down restaurant. And when I was in India, whether it be New Delhi, Mumbai, whatever city I was in, I did often go and just eat on my own. I kind of became okay with that, became okay with solitude, as well as appreciating, I guess, that element of solo travel and self-discovery. So I think that is a great benefit that I hope to continue in the future. I hope to solo travel at least 1 or 2 times more in the future, if possible. There you go. All right. So before I go to questions, I just wanted to acknowledge, obviously, everyone that was involved in this, whether it be Dr. Devi Nambiar at TGI India or the team, James for helping arrange this, the McMaster Health Forum, QES, all partners and parties involved, just because this was an amazing experience. And I don't think that it would have been that I would have been able to have an experience like this if not for these partnerships. So thank you very much, and I'll be taking any questions.